Well, welcome along to Track Talk and another feature race edition of the show coming up for you. And well, one of our biggest races in the calendar. It's the Group 1 Singapore Derby this weekend, a race run at Group 1 level over 1,800 metres, and it's worth $400,000 in total prize money. That race due off at 4:30 this Sunday afternoon. The crown in the jewel in the crown, Scott, I should say, of what is an 11-race card. A really good card, this one as well. And the Derby, numerically, it's the smallest field ever for 21 years here at the Singapore Turf Club at Kranji. But it's a good one. How are you?
I'm good, Nick. It's great to be here for another episode of Track Talk and a feature race, the Singapore Derby. It's one of our main races of the year, and we look forward to seeing who's going to cross the line first this weekend and hold the much-awaited trophy that a lot of trainers, owners and jockeys all aim for here at the Singapore Turf Club. Yes,
indeed. There'll be a set of connections bidding to get on the virtual podium after the Derby shortly after 4:30 this Sunday afternoon. One man who managed to do so for the very first time last week was Shafrazal Salih, who claimed his very first feature race win here at the Singapore Turf Club on board Starlight in the 3-year-old Classic. We can have a look back at that race now for you from the outset, Scott. There he is in the blue and white, and a horse who certainly coming into the race was one of the Clements runners who certainly had to come under consideration judged on what he did in the sprint.
Yeah, this was a great ride from the much-liked young man Eschafreisel, and he really was able to get a good run from a good barrier. He didn't have that option in the 3-year-old sprint, so he definitely rode him with a lot more luck in this race, and it paid big dividends in the finish. The speed was set by BU, which we thought from the inside barrier that was always going to be the case, and pushing out wide was a couple of Sesson, and he was just able to tuck him behind the speed and really just travel until the run appeared for him.
He certainly did. It was a really good win. Obviously the fancied runners, notably of course, obviously the horse right out the back, and that is Tiger Raw, who was very well fancied. Naturally, obviously Prosperous Return from the same stable as well. The horse in the orange and blue past the 400, that's Relentless, and he travelled into it quite smoothly as well. But I must say that the winner's got a very taking attitude, hasn't he? And I thought he was a willing partner here for Shafrazal.
Yeah, it's only his second time wearing the blinkers in a race, and he didn't have a lot of luck, so you couldn't really pin it down to that performance last start. But once he saw daylight and switched across the heels of BU, he just had a magnificent turn of foot, and here you can see the boom horse Tiger Raw trying to gun down his stablemate, but just found the post a little bit too short.
I'll tell you what, horses do run. I love this as well. Look, Simon Cock offering up a congratulatory pat there to his fellow jockey, and he absolutely loved it as well. Obviously, he was quoted, Scott, afterwards in an interview, obviously with Michael Lee, that he was almost on the verge of tears. He was that happy, and also with a young child born, I think only 3 weeks previously, that I still believe he hasn't yet met, which is incredibly tough. But Michael Clements, there you can see he made a point of going down and getting that photograph, and that's something that he'll treasure for a long time.
Yeah, it can get emotional for jockeys, in tough times, but also it's your first group win. It's a big thrill, whether you're a trainer, an owner or a jockey. When you get that first bit of black type to your name, it's something you'll treasure. I'm sure he'll get a photo made up and put it up in his room, and his family will be very proud. He's looking forward to when he's able to visit them. Indeed,
he is. Well done to Shafrazal Salih, one of the real likeable good guys amongst them, which there are plenty, of course. But Shafrazal Salih, we're big fans of him here on the show, and well done to him. Talking of jockeys and trainers alike, let's have a look at the premierships now as we tee this meeting up, Scott.
Yeah, Michael Clements with that silverware victory last weekend goes on top to 46. He's held that position for quite a few months now. His rival Mark Walker is chasing hard on 39. He's going to have a big contingent of runners coming soon. Daniel Marr in third, just one ahead of Stephen Gray. And Shane Berchiger is just trailing in fifth position, one off Stephen Gray in fifth.
Danny Beasley for the jockeys leading the way now from Vlad Jurek by 2, 28 to 26. Jimmy Wong having a good run of things, 23 winners there for Jimmy. Mark Leonard 21, Louis Beausolan, he rides Metal World in the Derby, 20 winners for Louis. Hakeem Cameroon 33. He still continues to ride plenty of winners, and he really is going great. Krisner on 12, Simon Cock on 11, along with Rosman Skander and Fazli Yousaf, who we hope to see back in action, having missed the winning ride on Mackham Lad last weekend. So hope you're getting better, Fazli, and we look forward to seeing you back in the saddle. Details for this week, right, we've got 11 races starting at midday. We're on the long course B for 6. and 5 on the poly track here at the Singapore Turf Club. So that's a look at what is coming up, and now as we work through the card, we'll take a look at the details for race number 1 very shortly. It's the opening race on Derby Day. It's the Top Night 2020 Stakes over the mile. Circuit Star up at the top. He is down in grade. Louis Bergeland rides from the same stable, Street Party. Recent winners include Auspicious Day, Fort Mustang's Off Speed for CC Wong. Take Out Smoke and Mirrors has come out of this race. Tiger Leap and My Everest. So we're left with a field of 11 to kickstart proceedings, Scott, for this Sunday.
Yes, a last start win here for Auspicious Day on the 3rd of July in a Class 5 event. This race was over 1,400 metres. He steps up here to the 1,600 metres on the poly, but he's a winner over this distance before, Nick.
He is, yes, and this win last time, obviously, full of merit. Beat Blitz Power, who actually runs later in the day in race 6. So, look, the form could take a slightly stronger look once proceedings are finished on Sunday afternoon. But it was a good win. Take nothing away from Auspicious Day, though he has got to prove himself on the poly. Here's Fort Mustang, who has already done just that. That's him in the blue silks, and this was a nice win. Danny Beasley will be on board. Wears those new Ultima colours this week.
Yeah, I just noticed them looking at the iRace magazine, Nick. A few new colours coming up this weekend, and this horse is one of 3 last start winners in this race, so it does make it quite tricky to work out the form when you've got 3 last start winners throwing their name in the mix.
They certainly have. Obviously, they're all in very good form, and that's not so much rare in a race like this, Scott, but for a race where we've got 3 last start winners, all of which would have claims, it does make the race that little bit more complex.
Yeah, for a Class 5 race, it's pretty tricky to work out on their last few runs. Who do you work out who had the better win?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, maybe it was this horse, Soft Speed. Let's have a look at him winning last time. Now, he's one of a couple in the race for Guy Shirtliff, or at least will wear his colours. Street Party, the other one. A couple of runners behind him this day is Off Speed. Look, he doesn't win all that often, but he has won twice over the course and distance.
This was a good win this day. He's a horse around these Class 5 distance races. He's really been running good races without getting sort of a place or a win on the board, and he's been threatening to do this for some time, and I was happy for his connections. He was finally able to do that.
Yeah, for sure. Well done to Guy. Obviously puts a lot of money into the sport. There's Circuit Star. More on him very, very shortly. There's his track work, though. He's working well, and he is down in grade. 2 runs for a win in Class 5 company. Now, the man that rides him has got a super record, Scott, over this course and distance. That's Louis Bergeland, and you can just add a bit more meat to the bones here because we've got a punting pointer on him. Yeah,
we've managed to find a few stats for our punting pointers in race 1, and Louis Bergeland gets it this week. He has a 23.8% winning strike rate for the 1,600 metres over the poly track, and he's a man that obviously likes to ride these further distance races. He still rides a lot of sprint race winners, but these European jockeys, they're sort of more grounded and used to the distance races, aren't they?
Yeah, I think so. And look, that's probably fair. I think perhaps that is the case, but it might just be almost a little bit by fluke, and that he's obviously ridden a lot of winners over the mile on the poly track. So, but he does ride the surface well, and he's got a nice chance on the top weight Circuit Star. Let's have a look at the selections then and see where those horses figure in our numbers for the opener. I think the top weight's probably the way to go here, Circuit Star, and I've put him on top. Over Fort Mustang in for 2nd. Boy Next Door goes in for 3rd. Don't rule him out. He can run a very good race here. And our friends Off Speed in for 4th. 1, 5, 3 and 6.
I'm with you, Nick. Circuit Star, a significant class dropper here, and look for him to run a big race in Class 5. 6 Off Speed, last start winner. He could just be in a nice patch of form at the moment to keep it going in 2nd. Fort Mustang for 3rd, Takaoka stable, always strong in these races, another last start winner, so he definitely is a top 3 chance. And I've thrown Street Party in for 4th. He can be disappointing at times, but I wouldn't be surprised if he ran a half cheeky race and surprised punters. 1, 6, 5 and 2 for race 1.
Let's have a look at race 2's card. It's named after Son Marshall, who won one of the slowest derbies, well, the slowest derby over this new trip. He was almost 3 seconds slower than Jupiter Gold, but for those that remember the race well, remember it was running an absolute quagmire. Here's a look at the field. Consperanza for Mark Lerner and Hideki Takaoka. You've got plenty coming out of the same race last time. Golden Sprint in here, Den of Thieves, a Sovereign, a King Karen. Great Expectation could be an interesting runner. Alexander, the half-brother to Count of Monte Cristo. Tony's Love ran recently. Further down, Oldwood and King's Shield are the emergencies. Or at least King's Shield is. Here's Iron Prince, Scott.
Nice piece of work from Iron Prince in the morning. Just Travelling with stablemate Ed Wood and was able to sit a couple lengths back in the work and finish off really strongly. A nice piece of work which we're used to seeing from the Stephen Burridge camp, letting them really work hard. Den of Thieves is the next for track work here in the Tim Fitzsimmons stable. Another one sitting back at the rear of its stablemate Nate's Honour. A lovely piece of work here from this runner, and you really like to see this sort of track work leading into a race that week.
I think this horse has got a good chance, actually, Den of Thieves. I really do. He's improving with every start, and last time out he ran well for fourth. Here's Conspiranza. Now, obviously, you would have seen there, obviously, a lot of horses coming through this race last time. He obviously fared best. He was clear of the third, which I think is a key point to note. And also the winner has come out and won again since. This could prove a strong restricted maiden, I think, in time.
This will be a very strong restricted maiden, Nick. And in saying that, it's the last chance a lot of these 3-year-olds get to run in these restricted maidens. So they're all going to be out to try and claim that really good rich prize money, which is unheard of around the world for maiden prize money. So yeah, it's going to be a pretty interesting race.
Yes, over $40,000 to the winner of this race. So to win your restricted maiden, if you can do it early on in your career, then that's a really nice little pot to scoop.
You've only got to work out horses like Conspiranza, Ace Sovereign, how many times they've been contesting these restricted maidens. Iron Prince is another one. You know, they've collected some good prize money for their connections in their short racing career so far, just by running in these RMs.
They certainly have. They're well worth winning one, and many will be wanting to this weekend, given its last chance saloon. Nobody wants to be drinking there. Let's have a look at Ibex next up. This horse who certainly improved last time. Alexander ran fourth this day, Scott, just sort of coming to the end of his run a bit. But, I mean, Ibex, I watched this again yesterday. He's plugged on. I mean, I wouldn't get too carried away.
Yeah, I thought it was an okay run in the scheme of things. It's definitely going to be pretty good form coming to this. The winner was far too strong on the day. He just toyed with him at the end.
I think he's one to follow, though.
He is definitely one for the future. And look, Alexander's a pretty well-performed horse here in his few runs to date, and he's an improving type as well. So it's definitely one to take notice of.
He is. He can still improve, though this is a much deeper race. Chiji Austin, same sort of comments apply, really. Second to Saba Star last time. What I do like, though, about him, Scott, he's from a stable who are bang informed. Donna obviously fired in a treble last week.
Yeah, took the words right out of my mouth. I was going to say you really like to follow when a stable starts to hit a good patch of form, and I think Donna Logan's going to have a nice couple of months ahead of her, and her stable star will step out as well, Minister. So look for these popular colours to be running some good races in weeks to come.
Yeah, he trialled recently, Minister, as well. You can get across the website and have a look at that. Here's Tavi Will Do. Now, we're showing you this trial. Only a smallish field. He ran third, but he wore blinkers. You called this trial, Scott. This was behind Maroof. I thought he tried okay. He'll get a mark after this, though, and that's probably when to sort of catch him, I think, in a handicap.
Yeah, it was a nice trial that morning, Nick. He just able to sit midfield. He wasn't fully tested to the line, but look, he travelled well within himself. They didn't run any flash quick time, but I just like how he was held to the line and still able to travel under his own steam, which is what I like to see with these young horses.
Yeah, I know he's always been quite highly thought of by Stephen Gray and the Chens, and Rosamund Skander obviously rides quite well for the stable. He's ridden a couple of winners. Just before we get to the selections, I want to go back to that Conspiranza form. Now, the horse that you and I spoke about, this horse, is Golden Sprint. For me, I felt he might be the run of the race because the rider had the whip struck out of his hand a furlong down. He got a bit of a bump late. There was plenty of argy-bargy in that race. They were all a little bit green and didn't quite know what to do. But I just thought he was probably one of the runs of the race. I think going up in trip's going to suit as well. And to be honest, I think if you ran the race again with clearer passages, he probably would have been that bit closer to Conspiranza. I mean, he was beaten in the region of 3 1/4 lengths. I certainly think he would have been closer to that horse.
Yeah, and we can see how strong that Red Ocean form is. He's come out and won his last couple in dominant authority, leading all the way. So he's been pinpointed as a horse to follow for the future. And I think if you go back and have a look at any race from Red Ocean's last few starts, the form's going to hold very strong in months to come.
One horse has been costly to follow recently is Ace Sovereign. I noticed you've got him in your selections as well. He's trying the mile for a second time. He was $14 behind Red Ocean. I think you might get a price about him this week.
I think so. Like I stated before, these horses are only running out of time to get into these restricted maidens, and he's been well performed in them. So he's going to try and get every last bit that he can of the 1,600 metres.
Yes, Tim Fitzsimmons well represented. I haven't actually got any of his runners in, but I can see that one or two of them can certainly run well. Conspiranza, though, on top. I just like that run last time, going up in triple suit. He's a Tavistock, and he looks ready-made sort of for the mile. Iron Prince in as well. Look, we didn't really mention him a great deal, but he was third in that race, came from a long way back. quickest sectional home, laid in a furlong down, will appreciate going up in trip. Golden Sprint for all the points are made, and great expectation. Keep an eye on this horse. He keeps sort of running into a bit of traffic trouble and different things, and he'll come right, and he could surprise at a big price. 2, 4, 3, 7.
I'm with Consperanza as well, Nick. Takaoka's runner, very well placed in his last few maidens behind some pretty handy horses. Number 3, Golden Sprint. He's had some pretty bad luck in his last few attempts, and look for him to really improve and try and get that much-needed maiden victory. Ace Sovereign, another horse that's been running around the mark in these restricted maidens, and he's in a stable that's hit a nice patch of form at the moment, and he'll get a win very soon. And number 1, Hero, another runner from the Tim Fitzsimmons stable. He's got good form in Australia in a Derby lead-up sort of race at Flemington, so he's going to relish the 600 metres and possibly further. My numbers are 2, 3, 6 and 1.
Let's move on to the third. It's the Jupiter Gold 2018 Stakes. The first year it was run over 1,800 metres, and it was a day that Ollie Placet won't forget. He rode a 5-timer that day. Crystal Warrior up at the top. Doc Hodson's in the race as well. Both Bionics and Winning Spirit are in good form, but they're off career high marks nowadays. Further down to Marduna, horse number 10. Simon Cock takes the ride there. 50.5. He might put a half over possibly on that one. And Zygarde, Saifuddin down at the bottom, drawn 5. Let's have a look at Doc Hodson's track work. Vlad Jurek will be on board here for Mark Walker.
Yeah, he jumped on him in the saddle during the week for Mark Walker, and he's a hard worker on those gallop mornings, Vlad. I saw quite a bit of work from him that morning, so he's one that he's looking to finally get a win on in 2 starts.
He didn't run badly actually last time. Handicap has dropped him a couple of points now as well. Here's Crystal Warrior's recent trial success. He's coming back in grade. He ran behind Tiger Roar in the sprint last time, readily outclassed. This is much more his level.
This was a nice trial. He's put together some pretty good trials since he arrived here in Cranji, and I like the way he sort of checked across the heels of the grey horse in front of him and really hit the line nice. They were just shy of a minute in this trial, so that's a pretty good time for leaning towards a race like this.
Yeah, I quite like the horse here actually, Crystal Warrior. I think he's of keen interest really. Draw middle of the line, can go forward. I think we can expect a nice run with a good claimer booked. Now 2 horses that have been racing very well, one of which is Bionics, and he's been in superb form of late. This was his run last time. Scott went second. Doc Hodson ran on for 5th this day. He's up to 62 rated. Life does get that a little bit tougher now on.
It does. He's meeting some pretty tricky opponents here, and he's a very good sprinter. He does show a lot of great speed out of the barriers, and I just wonder if maybe 1,000 metres is more his go, but shorter distance probably suits him.
Yeah, just got to check late as well. He was clear of the 3rd, so up a point for that. There was certain merit in the performance. Here's Winning Spirit winning last time. A few ran behind him on this occasion. He's in very good form. He's won his last 2, but again, Scott, he's up 11 points for 2 wins.
Yeah, but he's aided by a 3-kilogram claim, as is Bionics, which really brings them both into contention. And I really like the win of this horse that day. It was a nice, strong, tough win to the line, and he's got a more inside barrier than what Bionics does. You can see him during his track work. His trainer, CT Qua, put him through his paces, and we've said it in weeks gone by, he's going to get a nice feel for his horses and know exactly where they're at. So this is going to be a very hotly contested race, speed-wise.
Yes, indeed. CT Qua, always good to see CT in the saddle. We've got a punting pointer for you on Winning Spirit. 144% is the return on investment from 5 starts this year. Obviously 2 recent wins, $42, $19. You add it all up. I mean, your maths is probably better than mine, but obviously the fact of the matter is it's a good return on investment if you followed him.
Yeah, for every $5 you've had on him each race this year in 2021, you've definitely come out well on top. There's quite a few horses that are well performed here at the Turf Club with higher numbers, and we'll try and find them for you in coming weeks.
We certainly will. Winning Spirit, is he the one that you like to win this race? Just note as well, Brutus, you won't have to adjust your television sets. New colours for Fortuna New Zealand. Just quickly, what have you made of those?
I think they're very what's the word? Very visually advantaged for you, Nick.
Might help the caller, yeah.
Yeah, they definitely stand out. They're a popular set of silks here, and they've got a touch of a pretty similar sort of set of colours on the sleeves to what we've seen at Cranji before.
Yeah, indeed. A bit like the Burridge silks, actually. Orange, white and blue. Or tangerine orange and blue, I suppose. But either way, nice colours, and good luck to John Galvin and all the team there. Let's have a look at the selections for the 3rd race. I'm going with the toppy here, Crystal Warrior. Down in grade, good trial, good claimer. There's a bit happening. Winning Spirit in for seconds in good form. Bionics you can't leave out either, and the point Scott makes is salient. They've both got good claimers on, which does help their cause, even though they are up in points. And Marduna, don't forget him. I know Scott quite likes him. He'll tell you a little bit more shortly. But go back to his run when winning, beating Strong and Smart. That's decent form. I know it was a while ago, but he can operate under these conditions. 1-5-4-10 for me, Scott. I'm
in the way of Winning Spirit, looking to go 3 in a row here for CT Choir, and Fazli Yusof on the comeback after not riding last week. He'll be looking to get going where he left off the week before. Marduna in for second, an interesting runner from the Michael Clemens stable. Gets in with a lightweight, a good barrier, and didn't have much luck in a wide run race at that last start. Brutus in for third, a pretty interesting runner here for Mark Walker and Harry Chasm. Gets a bit of a gear change, so look for him after an unlucky run last start. And Bionics, another horse who's in very good form and a speed runner. So my numbers are 5, 10, 7 and 4.
Yes, nice little competitive sprint, that one. We come to our first commercial break, and well, as we get there, let's have a look back at the 3-year-old classic highlights, shall we? A big day in the saddle for Shafrazul Salih. Well, we've come to the moment of this afternoon we've all been waiting for. It's the feature race of the day, the Group 2 Singapore 3-year-old Classic over horse number 5 next. This is Starlight, one of 2 in the race for the PSM Racing Stable. Another one for Michael Clemens. He was 5th in the sprint, Scott. I thought that was quite a good run behind his stablemate. 3-year-old Classic. Set, they're off. Away and racing from the 1400-metre gate, and Sesson was one of the first to link up with the course proper. Going forward, Star Harmony and BU on the inside. Sesson has just been shuffled back to 3rd on the inside from Starlight. Next is Prosperous Return, who's travelled well for the champ, bidding to make it 3 on the bounce in this race. They've got under 400 metres left to go, and it's BU the inside. Looming up on his outside is Starlight now. Here comes Prosperous Return, the stablemate. And it's Starlight. Here comes Tiger Roar down the outside with one last go. Starlight from Tiger Roar as they go towards the line. Oh, it's close. Starlight has won it. Starlight wins the Group 2 Singapore 3-year-old Classic, and the biggest day in the career of that man, Shafrazul Salih.